Lately I've been thinking about my life and thinking about all the different things that have happened, at least in the last 2 years or so. I've mentioned the pandemic in many different videos before, just really talking about how this situation, caused a sense of challenge, complexity, and ambiguity. And with that challenge, with that complexity, with that ambiguity, it forced us to think about questions that really got us to look inside ourselves and really understand, have I been really living the life that I want to live? Have I really been achieving the things that I want to achieve? Have I been living with integrity? Now, of course, globally, the pandemic has been a very difficult situation for many people. And in some ways, and, don't take this too harshly, it's a great case study to really see how we survive as a species in terms of our resilience and buoyancy, so to speak. And of course, I've had people that I've lost. You may have had people that you have lost. You may know people who have lost people, or have just heard many things in the news. But after every type of disaster, there is an opportunity to carve out something new. I feel like for me personally, the pandemic has been a chance and an opportunity to reframe my thinking. I had been in a stance and a place and a space of just consistently doing things for doing things' sake. I had created this identity within the NHS. I created this identity outside of work as well, within the coaching space, locally and modestly. However, there was so much more to achieve. And I can confidently say that the lessons learned during this time have been a chance for me to grow exponentially. I'm not just talking about from a financial standpoint. I'm talking from a mindset standpoint. I'm talking about from a result standpoint. I'm very results driven. Results don't lie. We could have grand ideas. We could have amazing potential. But at the end of the day, it's results that really tell the story, so to speak. And so I can name 10, 11, 12 different things that I have ticked off my list, so to speak, because the opportunity had been shown in my way because of the pandemic. Why am I saying all this stuff? Sometimes you need an opportunity to stop, pause and think, are you thinking big enough? Are you thinking big enough? You may have these grandiose plans. You may have these achievements and objectives that you want to achieve. But what is really stopping you in your tracks? It's not just about thinking big. It's about acting and doing big as well. And I think the biggest propeller towards that is based on the people you spend your time around. Sometimes it's a case of spending time around those individuals who are doing big things, and therefore, when you see them reap and produce results, you are going to reap and produce results too. Sometimes it's about not being around many people at all. You may be a person who has the right level of willpower, desire, a sense of achievement in order for you to know what to do, but you're surrounded by idiots, so to speak. And so it's about distinguishing between the two. Now, sometimes it may be like, how do I get into the club? How do I get into the space where these people are doing great things? It's about brokering conversations. It's about starting off with your network and seeing what is out there. And it's not necessarily with the intention to try to network, but it's to throw out there what your intentions are, so to speak, in a sense of, hey, Frank, or hey, Sarah, I've really been thinking about starting a business in X. Just want to know your thoughts on this. Like, do you know anyone in that space? Etc., etc. Sarah or Frank may say yay, or they may say nay, but you've asked, and they may have that in mind if you bring it up again. So it's really good to ask questions. It's really good to speak to different people. In addition to that, it's good to really study the game. Like, what is it that you're trying to do? Really delve deep into it. And this delving deep is quite simple in a way. Not only should you speak to people, you should read stuff in it, you should listen stuff in it, you should watch stuff in it, you should go to events based on it. Think big. Like, sometimes one way of knowing whether you're thinking big enough or doing big enough is based on how you're spending your money. Okay, how you spend your money? Is your money going away on ridiculous items? Is it going on things that are sowing seeds for your future? Is it going towards this big grandiose idea? Like, if you're a business owner, do you rate your business enough to throw money into it, even if it means you're not going to get a return on investment? Like, are you at that stage, or are you too scared to do that? I mean, life doesn't favor those who are scared all the time, you know. Maybe when there's a natural disaster, but at some point you're going to have to jump. At some point you're going to have to run. At some point you're going to have to try to fly. Because if you don't try these things, you may end up dead anyway. And so staying in one place, staying in one spot is not enough for any human being, because it doesn't mean growth or development. That's why we're here. One thing is constant, and that's change. And so with that in mind, it's about directing that change in such a way that it favors your ship to sail forth in a destination that you are seeking. And why not seek something bigger than what you expect? You know, if you think about this in terms of the law of averages, if you are seeking something bigger, if you have bigger intentions, you are more likely going to acclimatize and attract those things along the way. It's almost like gathering things in your dust, so to speak. And so don't be afraid to think big. Sometimes we don't think big enough because there are people in our lives that put us down. There are people in our lives that criticize us. You need to be able to create a shell that says F you to all those people who are putting you down, and really focus on self and understand, what is the most single-minded thing I need to do or be in order to achieve the things that I say I want to achieve, long after the feeling has gone? Because sometimes our emotions can get in the way. So if you're thinking about thinking big, really think about, what is it that your heart desires? What do you need to do in order to do those things? And what people do you need to speak to? What environment do you need to create in order for that to happen? And sometimes that's too much thinking, you know. Sometimes it's just a case of just doing it. Right, I'm just going to do it. I'm not even going to think about it. I'm just going to do it. See what happens. That's okay too. There are no real rules in life, so to speak. I mean, real rules. And so you get to create what those rules look like for you, especially when it comes to your future. So, it's really important to make sure that you rate yourself. In fact, I'd love to know this. Comment below and let me know what obstacles get in the way of your dream. Let me know. I'd love to know, what obstacles get in the way of your dream. Because if you see them as obstacles, they will always be obstacles. So this is really an invitation for you to see things from a different perspective. It's not necessarily a how-to or anything else. It's just a way for you to recognize what you've gone through in your life and understand that there is more out there. It doesn't have to be your portion the way it is right now. You may be in a situation where you really hate your job. You may be in a situation where you hate your environment. You may be in a situation where you hate your body, but it doesn't need to stay that way. Take small steps. But as long as those steps are towards that bigger dream that you have for yourself, that's where success lies, when you start to make those efforts. So don't put too much pressure in the bigger ideal, but at least start thinking bigger so you can start making those steps because you're drawn towards it. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Let me know your thoughts below in terms of this video, in terms of this topic, what sort of ideas come to mind. If you like videos like this, just make sure to subscribe so you can check out other videos like this as well. Now, if you're looking to really understand how to become a high-performing individual, I'd done an event a couple of weeks ago and I recorded it, so you can check it out at the bottom below. It's really called Take Back Control. Okay, so it's an opportunity for you to learn these 7 key principles to life that enables you to really take ownership of your life and manage it better. So make sure to click the link below. Anyway, like I always say to you guys, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And as always, my friends, understand, reach, and expand. Peace.